Welcome to Type C Tech Reviews. Today we're going to be doing a review of the Alienware AW2723DF. If at any point during the video you want to check out this exact same monitor, there's Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links, but let's jump into it. Alright, now this is a 27-inch screen size with a resolution of 2560 by 1440p. This brings the PPI, or pixels per inch, essentially how crisp and clear the monitor image is actually going to appear to your eye. This brings it to about 109. Now, if you don't know anything about that, that's fine. This means images, games, movies all appear very crisp and clear. Now, very small text will have visible pixelation depending on your viewing distance. Although, the very big thing here is you get a very high refresh rate at a 1440p resolution. Now, as for panel type, this is a Nano IPS panel, which I believe is manufactured by LG. Refresh rate here is absolutely fantastic, hitting 240 Hz natively, but then having a factory overclock up to 280 Hz. Now, the cool thing is, in the menu system, you can choose your overclocked refresh rate from 250 Hz, 260 Hz, 270 Hz, and then the max 280 Hz. I don't know why you'd ever want to just do 260 Hz, but it is cool that you have the option to choose what refresh rate overclocked you want it to be. That's kind of cool. As well, a fantastic thing is this has FreeSync Premium Pro. So for variable refresh rate, that means you can have HDR on with variable refresh rate on at the same time. Now, yes, from the 21 model year of this monitor, which has changed substantially since then, this one does not have a G-Sync chip inside of it. This is certified G-Sync compatible, and it works very well. I didn't really notice it. Now, obviously, there's definitely negatives there, but for 90% of people buying this, I don't think it's going to be an issue. The FreeSync Premium Pro is great. It's NVIDIA certified. Everything works well. But the big thing is that 280 Hz refresh rate. When you compare this to, well, it's kind of breaking away from 240 Hz because 280 Hz is substantially more than that. That's only an 80 Hz difference between this monitor and a 360 Hz monitor. And if you're comparing those, you're going to be comparing it to the Asus 360 Hz monitor, which has a price tag of almost $1,050. So when you take into account this price with the same resolution and an 80 Hz difference, that's when this thing starts becoming really, really good. All right, but let's talk brightness. It is fantastic here. This is rated for 600 nits of brightness, and I was hitting about 580 nits in SDR content. That's with a 100% window, so basically full screen brightness. This is extremely bright and vibrant, and enough brightness where it keeps away reflections. Now, talking about reflections, we need to talk about the finish of this panel. Now, 95, if not 99% of all gaming monitors that come out have a matte finish, which is kind of ugly. And if you don't have much experience, matte finishes do decrease the picture quality substantially. This one, because I believe that it was manufactured by LG, has almost the exact same finish as the LG GQ950 and GQ850, which is kind of a hybrid matte glossy finish. It's definitely on the more glossy side of matte, but it still has a matte finish on it. But it increases clarity of the image substantially. This is a massive pro for this, and immediately taking it out of the box, you will notice substantially better image quality. Now, this makes perfect sense because this is a Nano IPS panel, and LG, I believe, manufactures all Nano IPS panels because they did develop that technology. So it makes sense that this is the same finish on the GQ950, which is from LG, as it is with this. That totally makes sense here, and this is, well, a lot better because of that. Now, as for HDR, this has an HDR 600 rating, and it does have that color gamut to back it up. So how is it? Well, firstly, let's talk about the modes. There's a game mode, there's a display HDR 600 mode. These are all HDR modes, but one of the modes that I actually really liked was the desktop mode. When you put it in desktop mode, typically with HDR, it's going to kind of blow areas of your desktop out in Windows almost all the time. However, in the desktop mode, it makes it so that you can have HDR on all the time on your desktop, making a very enjoyable experience. If you're browsing through YouTube and watching some HDR YouTube videos, and then you're going back to your desktop, that's super sweet to have. A small pro, but definitely a pro. Now let's just get this out of the way. The blacks are not gonna be super deep. This is an IPS panel without full array local dimming. It's not mini LED lit, so you're just not gonna have those super deep blacks. But besides that, the overall experience is quite good. Having wide coverage of the DCI-P3 color gamut allows the colors to look nice, rich, and vibrant. It handles brighter areas and dimmer areas of the display very well while maintaining clarity and detail. Overall, gaming in HDR is very enjoyable, especially because of the colors. That's probably the main thing with this monitor, is the HDR is giving you significantly better color coverage in HDR. However, it's not going to compete with OLEDs or mini LED lit IPS panels with full array local dimming, or even really VA panels, even though they don't have significantly deeper blacks when compared to OLEDs or mini LED lit IPS panels, or mini LED lit full array local dimming VA panels for that matter. But it doesn't really matter because none of those are super high refresh rate like this one at this point, so you don't really have that option anyway. So overall, this is probably just about as good as you can ask for. Although the only other thing would probably be like the Samsung Neo G8. However, that's not 27 inches, kind of a different kind of monitor, although that does have full array local dimming and a 240 Hz refresh rate, but it is a substantially higher price. Also, one thing to note is that this does have local dimming. However, it's got 16 zones and there is no toggle for it. It's only in display HDR 600 that will come on, but they are single zones. 16 zones, that's it. So basically it's never going to come on and you're never really going to notice it. So there's no real point in having local dimming on at all. It just doesn't do anything. All right, but now let's move on to colors. Firstly, this covers 95% of the DCI-P3 color space, which is freaking sweet, while having, big thing, that glossy hybrid matte finish. That's big. And then having 95% of the DCI-P3 color space in an IPS panel, and then having 280 Hertz beyond that. So if you do want to do like more creative style work where you need color accuracy or a wide color gamut, this is great. I mean, this is just awesome to have this amount of refresh rate and colors. Now, there's a specific creator mode that if you're going to be doing color accurate work, that's just the best thing to do. Inside of creator mode, you can choose what color space you want, whether that's sRGB or DCI-P3. And then you can also choose your gamut. So inside of that, in the creator mode, in the DCI-P3 color space with gamma set to 2.2, the color temperature stock, uncalibrated, hits 6,386 kelvins. That's with a 6,500 Kelvin target. That's not amazing, but it's pretty dang good. Better than I was expecting, really. Now, after calibration, I was able to get this to 6,547 Kelvin, which is near perfect, essentially. That's imperceivable to the eye with a target of 6,500 Kelvin. So the white balance, the color temperature, really, really good. Out of the box, most of you are probably gonna just be fine with it, and it's super nice. I'm very happy with that. Now, as for gamma, set to 2.2, uncalibrated, this hit 2.3. That's not amazing, but again, unless you're doing color accurate work, this is not going to be a huge deal for you at all. After calibration, this hit 2.19, which is perfect. I mean, it's perfect. The overall point here is this is beautiful for gamers. The color temperature out of the box is very good. It's quite accurate. It's pretty for all the gamers. It's very pretty actually as far as colors. But if you do want to do some more photo, video editing, stuff like that, if you are a content creator, I mean, this is amazing. This is exactly what you want with 280 Hertz, which is just so freaking awesome. And then lastly with colors, this can output 10 bits of color at full overclock, 280 Hertz, which is awesome. Now moving on to contrast ratio, this is typical for IPS panels with a 1,000:1 contrast ratio. As for backlight bleed, there was a very, very small amount. Now I'm going to increase the ISO and the B-roll so I can show it to you, but overall, during gameplay, during black screens, during gameplay, you don't really know, I didn't notice it at all. However, this is a quality control issue, and I do want to note, this unit, I think, was probably one of the earliest units. It possibly was a pre-production unit that Dell sent out to me. And if you guys saw in the unboxing, this did come with a European power cable. So it was probably very, very early on in the production process. So I'm assuming that's why this had an issue, as I haven't had really any issues with backlight bleed with all of Dell and Alienware's monitors previously, as their quality control has been really, really good. And that's both with getting sent products directly from Dell as review units and buying units myself. Their quality control is just really, really good. So I don't think this is really that big of an issue. However, if it does happen to your panel, obviously just send it back for a replacement. All right, but now response time, ghosting, and input lag. Now this is a claimed response time of 1 milliseconds, gray to gray. We all know that that's probably not what it is at all, definitely not, but that doesn't really matter, does it? How does it translate into ghosting? Now, just to get this out of the way, it does extremely well. Now, there's a little bit of two different things going on. Number one, with variable refresh rate on in the extreme setting, which is the fastest response time setting, that's the lowest amount of ghosting that you're gonna get, and that's absolutely the mode that you should have it in. There is a small amount of ghosting, but it is incredibly good. Now, the interesting thing here is when you switch over and turn your variable refresh rate off, you do get pixel overshooting in the extreme setting, and you get a very micro amount of pixel overshooting in the super fast setting. So with variable refresh rate off, your best ghosting setting should be the slowest one, which is fast. But in that mode, there's very, very little ghosting. I don't know why you would be gaming with variable refresh rate off, as this does have FreeSync Premium Pro. However, that is something to know. Now for input lag, as you would expect, from a panel that's hitting 280 Hz, this has exceptionally low input lag. Now when compared to ASUS's 360 Hz monitor, I don't have that one in-house, but looking from other people's tests on it, you can see that that panel obviously is going to be faster. It's 360 Hz and it's 1440p, and this one is 280 Hz and 1440p. Although the differences between the input lags from this one to that one are very, very minimal. Both are incredibly fast, and you're gonna hear me go over this. If you're looking for super high refresh rate and 1440p, I do think this is the better monitor to get over that 360 Hz ASUS monitor. All right, but let's continue on with the menu system and controls. If you don't care about any of this stuff and the build quality and things like that, then skip to the price and value section where I kind of go over all of my opinions on it and whether I think this is worth it or not. Okay, but now the menu system and controls. Controls are great here with a single joystick under the bottom middle chin. This is very easy to use, it's intuitive, it's the best system. I mean, that's it. But this has a dedicated power button with really awesome RGBs around it. What do you expect from Alienware? That is super cool. You can customize the RGB, and it's a very responsive and attractive power button. So I really like that. The menu system itself is typical Dell and Alienware. It's functional, it's pretty intuitive. There's a lot of different settings, but it could be better. It's not quite as well laid out as something like LG's menu system, and it's definitely not as pretty as LG's menu system. But I mean, honestly, nothing compares to LG's menu system at this point. All right, but moving on to Vesa Compatibility. If you do want to mount this, it's quite easy as it's compatible with 100mm by 100mm Vesa mounts. And this isn't incredibly heavy as, I mean, obviously Alienware monitors are typically thicker, but this one's not too heavy. You can mount this on a lot of different monitor arms. It weighs in at 12.6 pounds. That's just the panel by itself. I will also link below a monitor arm if you do want to end up mounting this, as it would look pretty cool. All right, but let's move into ports. This has two HDMI 2.0s, one DisplayPort 1.4, one USB Type-B upstream, and then 4 USB Type-A downstreams. It then has two 3.5mm audio outs. No, 2 of those USB Type-A's are back behind the monitor with all of the other ports, and then 2 of them are on the bottom chin, kind of over there, just a little bit to the left over there, with another one of those headphone jacks situated there. So you have 2 headphone jacks, one behind the port and one up there. That is for easy access. It's fantastic. You can charge your headset, which is what I use those for a lot. And this is just so nice to have. Dell does this incredibly well. That's one of those things where after you've used a monitor that has those USBs there, it is so hard to go back. All right, but let's move on to stand and build quality. The stand and build quality is absolutely fantastic. It's exactly what you'd expect from Alienware, which is a good thing because they have some of the best stand and build quality across the board, competing probably only with Corsair stuff, which just came out of the blue, just like crazy good. But I mean, this is incredibly good. The materials are good. The sculpting of the plastics are amazing. It's well put together, and come on, that matte off-white finish just looks so good. I think they call it like moon rock or lunar rock or something like that. Lunar light, I think that's it. What's not to love? Also, the cable management is absolutely fantastic. It hides the cables basically perfectly, and the back of the monitor has little hooks for the cables. It's just stupid easy to cable manage. And basically no work at all. Like the design here, perfect. As for functionality, this is great, having height, tilt, swivel, and full rotation, going fully vertical to the left and to the right. One thing that they also did incredibly well with this monitor is making those bezels exceptionally small. This has some of the smallest bezels, if not the smallest bezels that I've ever seen on any monitor. This is like probably smaller than my Dell XPS right here. I mean, really, really small bezels. It makes it look really futuristic. And we've seen small bezels across monitors for quite a while now. These are another level. These are like razor thin bezels. You will definitely notice it when you take it out of the box. That does fade away. Like, bezels don't really matter that much in monitors, but it just does look more attractive. There's no getting around that. All right, now this does have a little bit of RGB lighting. It has some on that power button, which is really nice. You can customize that all just through the menu system itself. It's very easy to. Then you also have a 27 on the back of the monitor, and then on the other side, you have an Alienware logo. Now, these get very bright, and they do end up hitting the wall. However, it's inconsistent when it hits the wall because the 27 is bigger overall than the Alienware logo. That's always been dumb to me. I don't know why they're doing that. It looks cool if you're looking at the back of the monitor, but if it's hitting the wall, I usually end up just turning those lights off and just keeping that power button on. And the one last thing to mention with the build quality, this has a lot of quirks and features here, is that there is a headphone stand on the left side of it. So you click it in and you pull a metal headphone stand out. Now, while this was good on the 2523HF, which was their 360Hz 24-inch 1080p monitor, this one's stand is not quite as tight. And that's totally fine for the monitor, but the tension for the rotation is a little bit too loose. So with my Corsair Virtuosos, and they are a fairly heavy headset, but when I put them on there, it actually shifted the monitor over a little bit. So it was like a no-go for me. I'm never gonna use that headphone stand. To make this usable, they would absolutely have to tighten the tension on that rotation a little bit because, well, my Virtuosos, I guess, are just too heavy. Okay, but now price and value. This comes in with a price tag of $649.99, and let's just get this right out of the way. If this is what you're looking for, and by that, I mean a 280 Hz refresh rate, a beautiful, vibrant image with wide color coverage, a bright screen, and super fast gamer performance with extremely low input lag, and a premium standard build quality with micro bezels, then yes, this is absolutely worth it. Now, the 360Hz Asus PG259QN is absolutely faster than this, and it's 1440p just like this one is. But again, at a $1,050 price tag, where this one is priced at $249.99. And I'm just gonna say this, for the consumer, this is 98% of that experience. I've had a lot of experience with 360Hz monitors. All you're really getting there is 1440p at 360 Hz. This one is going to be 98% of the consumer experience. The only reason you would ever get that one would be if you were a literal professional gamer, because as of right now, that is just too expensive to justify only 80 Hz more. So overall, do I recommend this monitor? Absolutely yes. Speed, resolution, 280 Hz, wide color gamut, a bright screen, and fantastic overall game performance make this one of my favorite 27-inch gaming monitors to date. Again, if you want to check it out, there are Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links. I can't wait for the day that these kind of monitors have mini LEDs in them and have full array local dimming. That will bring IPS panels into the space, really competing with OLEDs. As you guys know, if you follow my channel, IPS panels will beat OLEDs if the market takes IPS panels and mini LED lit technology. We've already seen it from companies like Cooler Master with their GP27U and GP27Q. Those mini LED lit IPS panels are just gonna beat OLEDs as far as price and overall value. Now, I do wanna hear what you guys think. Is the Asus 360Hz monitor worth it for you? I know that some people are probably going to disagree with my opinion, but I wanna know why. What's the reason that you would buy the 360Hz Asus over this one for that price tag when probably in a year or 2 years, we'll have 360Hz 1440p monitors everywhere? Whereas right now, for this price point at $649.99, around 650 bucks, this is giving you a lot of that experience for a substantially lower price point. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, but this was Type C Tech Reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next video.